Hey guys, it's Grant jumping in to remind you there's still 1 week left to win this Galaxy S9 Plus smartphone. It could be yours. There's a link down in the description to get your name on the list to qualify. Best of luck, and we'll see you around.
Hey guys, I'm Nate. Welcome back to the workshop, where today we're going to be building a small pocket-sized weapon using just a ballpoint pen and a rubber band. This is a slight variation on something that I think kids have been doing in school for probably since pens were invented. But we're going to try and tweak it a little bit and come up with our own twist that makes it more convenient to use and carry. This is a great project for kids because you'll often already have these supplies lying around your house. Ballpoint pens and rubber bands are fairly common, and if you don't have them, I got a pack of 15 of these pens for less than $1 at Walmart. The only tool you're going to need for this build is an X-Acto knife, although it wouldn't hurt to have a pair of pliers as well. The first step is to take this pen completely apart into all its separate pieces. The cap comes off. The front of the pen you might be able to pull off with just your fingers, but just in case, that's why I said you may want a pair of pliers. The ink tube and the tip of the pen should also slide out of this front piece of plastic. We are going to leave the tip of the pen and the ink tube connected, however, because if we take them apart, ink gets everywhere. Now we also want to pop the back end of the pen off. Let's see if we can just slip the X-Acto knife in between the seam and pry that out. There we go, there's the back of the pen popped off. Our pen is now divided up into 5 different pieces. We have the cap, we have this little plastic collar, there's the ink cartridge, we've got the main body of the pen, and the little plug that goes on the back. Once we have everything disassembled like this, what we want to do is bore a hole through the center of the body of the pen. We want a hole that goes in through one side and out the other, and we want it to be exactly as wide as the bottom of this plastic collar. We'll cut that hole using our X-Acto knife. Placing the tip in the center of the pen body, we can spin the blade and it will start to carve down into the pen. This hole is started, but at this point the X-Acto knife is running into the pen wall on the other side. So let's go to the other side and start drilling there as well. If you want to try using a drill bit instead of an X-Acto knife to make this hole, you can. You may find it difficult to get the drill bit to make any purchase on the smooth plastic body of the pen. This time, as our X-Acto knife gets farther through, it will have a hole on the other side that it can stick out of, which will allow it to go farther into the pen body. Once your hole is carved all the way out, you should be able to fit the plastic collar through the hole, in one side and out the other. The next step is to add notches to the top and bottom of the pen body for our rubber band to fit in. We can stretch a rubber band from the top to the bottom and orient it in such a way that the rubber band is lying right across the back of that plastic collar. That will show us what direction we need to cut the notches into the pen. It really doesn't need to be a deep cut. Maybe a 1/16 of an inch, just about a millimeter or so, should be plenty. With 4 notches cut, 2 on each side, we now want to use the tip of the razor blade to connect the 2 notches and take out this piece of plastic. That's one end done. Let's do the same thing to the other side. We can now stretch our rubber band, connecting it between the notches on the 2 sides. You can see that our rubber band is still laying right across the opening of that plastic collar. Now this version of the pen bow and arrow is shooting and complete, but it has some design flaws that I'm not really a fan of. It would be hard to start using this as a pen again. Plus we have the cap and the end piece that are just sitting around not doing much, and I fear I would lose them if I were to try and actually assemble this into a weapon. So let's see if we can't tweak this design so all of the parts stay included in the build, and we'll be able to put it back together as a functional pen. Plus I think we can maybe make the design a little more snazzy. We've got tape, we've got paint, we can make this look a little better. We've got a new pen and we'll start the same way. Disassemble it down to the 5 different pieces. This time, instead of cutting our notches into the end of the pen body, we're going to try cutting them into the top of the cap and into the end plug. Because we're going to try and do this with the cap on, that will also change where the center of the pen is and therefore where we want to drill our hole. Let's see if we can cut a couple of notches into the pen lid. That worked pretty well. Now we've got notches in the lid of the pen. Let's see if we can get it in the end cap as well. I think to make these notches deep enough, we're going to have to go through the cap and part of the way into the body. That worked out pretty well, putting the notches in both ends of the pen with the cap and the plug on. So now let's drill a hole through it in the center of the whole pen rather than just the center of the pen body. The whole pen is just under 6 inches long. Just a little bit under 3 should give us the very center. With our holes drilled and our notches cut, let's take a little bit of time to decorate this pen body so our pen is a little more exciting than just plain white. Let's try using some yellow and black tape to fancy up the body of our pen. think our pen cap should still even fit down over this tape. It's a little snug, but it goes on. Our little ballpoint pen bow and arrow looks a lot cooler, and it still uses all of the pieces while you're using it as a bow and arrow. This should make it easier to keep track of everything and not lose it while you're using it as a weapon instead of as a writing implement. When you're done shooting things with it, simply pop off the cap, reassemble the pen, and wrap the rubber band around the end. Your ballpoint pen still works for writing and as a weapon. Now that we have our office supplies bow and arrow, we need something to shoot it at. Let's take this styrofoam plate and cup, tape them together, and add a target onto the front. I have a paper target I found on the internet and printed off. Now let's just glue that to the front of our plate. That's some grouping right there. A bow and arrow made out of a ballpoint pen and a rubber band. The target is just made out of a plate and a cup with a printed off target from online. This is super easy to build. You can have the whole thing done in 15, maybe 20 minutes, and of course your bow and arrow turns back into a functional pen when you're not trying to shoot things with it.
Hey, what's up guys? It's Grant here with the brand new Galaxy S9 Plus smartphone that I'm giving away to one of you for subscriber appreciation. I've got a link down in the description so you can get your name on the list and qualify to win.